show we done. Nah, XRP1. Yeah, I'm the one, the prodigal son, yeah. And you looking at it, no son, yeah. Look me in my eye, you know something, yeah. And I'm back with the glow. Different type of mode, got that MJ in my soul. 23 on my back, 2 on my goal. Told them when I was a youngin', I traveled the globe. Now I'm sold. Now I'm on tour, yeah. Everybody know that I'm a beast on, yeah. When you see me, just know that it's real rare. Probably catch me somewhere in the sky when the planes land. XRP1, you know I'm the one, yeah. The prodigal son, yeah, I'm the one, yeah. XRP1, is we done? Finish all we done. Nah, XRP1, yeah. I'm the one, the prodigal son, yeah. And you looking at it, no son, yeah. Look me in my eye, you know something, yeah. Yo, it's your boy Awesomeisjayell, aka the biggest music artist in the metaverse. And right now, man, we got the king of the punks. We got the king of punks in the building. We got the homie Spottie WiFi in the building. What's good with you, my guy? How you feeling?
I'm great, bro. It's good to be here, man. Thank you for having me.
Definitely, man. Definitely. I see you got the face filter on, man. We gonna get into it. We gonna get into it. Hey, I'm not one to leave no stone unturned. So you came to the right place. You know what I mean? But look, this is Beast on Air. You know, this is your first time being on an episode. So let me go ahead and let you know how we do things around here, right? So soon as you come in the door, we do what we like to call a heartbreaker, right? Top 5 dead or alive, any genre. Let's get it. Who you got?
Top 5 dead or alive. Nas, Jay-Z, Kanye. Nas, Jay-Z, Kanye. Man, I'm saying you said any genre, so I'm trying to take a step back and not be just in hip hop. But that's the first 3 that come to mind. I'm gonna put my personal, I don't know. Man, this is a tough question. I'm stuttering over here. I'm gonna put Whitney Houston in there for me. And I'm gonna put Elton John in there. Pause.
Oh. Okay. Nah, that's a good one. That's solid. Man, you know, I do this all the time. So my top 5, right off the top, I'm going Michael Jackson. I'm going Jay-Z. I'm going Kanye West. I'm going Outkast. And I am going Scarface. You know what I'm saying? Major shout out to Scarface. Shout out to the Ghetto Boys, man. I love that Texas sound, man. I love that Texas sound. But look, come on, man. We got the homie Spottie WiFi in the building. Look, man, Beast on Air. Usually, now this is what's crazy, right? Usually about this show, we actually do a roundtable show, right? It's more like a roundtable setup, and it's like a roundtable discussion. But today, you know, we made a
made a special episode, tribute to you and everything that you've done and contributed, to the music space and Web3 and Web2. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not just a podcast about Web3. It's about Web2 as well, man. So we definitely going to dive into some of your journey, today, all the way up to date and some of the things you did like early in the game. From my understanding, you were one of the first people in the space, one of the first music artists in the space to kind of just dive in head first, man. But before we jump into that and jump into your story, let's talk about Web3. Let's talk about Web3. Let's talk about Web2 music, right? What is your, and I'm gonna leave this very broad, right? Because when people come to the channel, I like to pick people's brain, about how they feel in terms of Web2 music. So let's start with Web2 music, man. How do you feel about the music industry as it stands currently?
Well, I think right now, Web2 music is kind of like, it's like candy. There's a lot of sugar, there's a lot of like dopamine and stuff, but you can see like labels don't know how to break artists. They find artists that have broken themselves on platforms like TikTok or YouTube or Instagram, things like that. And so it's kind of like there's a lot of ships with no rudder. Like I feel like there's just a lot of big dinosaur brands, labels and things like that, that are just kind of vultures, at this point. And that's always been part of my thing, is like the traditional record industry is infested with middlemen. I've been saying that for like a few years. Like the artist is baking the pie and then they're getting the last slice usually, sometimes they're getting one of the smallest slices, because you got artist managers, business managers, booking agents, record labels, publishing companies, lawyers, everybody with their hands out before the artist gets paid. In Web2. In Web3 is completely the opposite. The artist is getting paid first because they're going direct to consumer, So, but to stick on Web2, yeah, I just think that the labels have a lot of challenges ahead of them, the big labels. And right now for an artist, a label deal can make sense for some artists, but I think for the vast majority of artists out there, what you could focus on is just making sure you have 1,000 true fans. If you have 1,000 people that really rock with you, you could earn a living if you're putting out products, putting out content.
I totally agree, man. I totally agree. It's so weird, man. It's so weird when it comes to Web2 and Web3 and everything that's going on, because it's like we're sort of like, in a hard place. The reason why I say that, because we're in the midst of a transition. We're literally in the midst of a musical revolution and just an art-driven revolution in general, right? So it's kind of crazy, because when I look at it, it's like, dang, sometimes, I want to look at it Web2 wise and just throw it all out, right? But, at the same time, we still, we're businessmen, We still want to make sure, certain people in certain areas have access to our music. It's about the supporters too, as well, and them getting access. You don't want your music to essentially be in a place to where, this particular person across the world is not be able to access it because they're, they've been kept out, or they're being gate kept, when it comes to your music, because of financial, instabilities or whatnot. You know what I mean? So it's so crazy when you think about that. So yeah, I just definitely wanted to get that out there and see what you thought about it, right? But yo, let me take this second to shout out everybody in the audience. Shout out to everybody who pulled up. This is Beast on Air, episode 6, season 1, spotlight on Spottie WiFi. Also, major shout out to Project Newm for sponsoring the space. For all of those that don't know who Newm is or what Newm is a music platform that's helping artists and listeners earn royalties from their music. To explore what they're building, visit njuːm.io and check out their socials below, and subscribe to their newsletter for the latest updates on this project. So like I said, shout out to everybody in the audience. Shout out to Giselle Ave. She always one of the first ones to pull up to the show. Shout out to the homie Lord P. He says, and we are live. What's good? What's good with you, Lord P? We definitely appreciate you stopping by the show. This is Beast on Air, and we got the homie Spottie WiFi in the building. But look, Spottie, let's go ahead and get into it, man. Let's talk about your story, man, because this is definitely, first of all, let me tell you how I kind of ran across you in your story, right? You're definitely one of the first people that popped up once I jumped into the space. I definitely been in the space since I want to say maybe since 2017, something like that, right? So I've been in the space for a minute. One of the first things I did when I jumped into the space, because I'm a music artist, you know what I'm saying? I'm a music artist first. Of course, I was in crypto, to get money, you know what I'm saying, and make investments and make moves and make sure I was, up on my game when it comes to the technology. But as soon as I started jumping into the musical artist perspective, I was like, man, is there anybody out there, making music and, actually, developing a following, or is there anybody out there that's successful in terms of doing music NFTs? And you were one of the first people that popped up, man. So, major kudos to you. Shout out to you. I definitely, check that out, and that motivated me to push for it. You know what I mean? So with that being said, what got you into crypto? And when you got into crypto, were you thinking music first, or were you just thinking like, man, let me just figure out about this technology?
Yeah, it was just, it was not music related at all. I got into crypto in 2017, like super late in that bull run, when it was the holidays and I was at my parents' house, and on CNN or whatever news channel, it was like they were talking about Bitcoin, talking about crypto, how basically people have been getting rich all year long during 2017. And I had been hearing about it, of course. And so I basically made the classic mistake. I did exactly what you're not supposed to do. I was afraid I was going to miss out. And so I just put more money in as quickly as I could, more than I was prepared to lose. I was putting in money, like literally at that time, you could go on Coinbase with a credit card and you could buy crypto. So I was doing that. And they it was like, you couldn't do that for very long after that, because like probably a lot of people did the same stupid thing. But that kind of, and then everything crashed right after that. So I was in a really tough spot. And I had a friend that just said, you don't lose anything until you sell, So I just held it. And it was tough, man. It was like a really, really tough thing for like 2 years, basically. But I was just convinced that the technology was going to take over, because the more you look into Bitcoin, I started hearing people that are a lot smarter than me and a lot more successful than me that really work in banking or PayPal, that sort of thing. And they're like talking about it back in 2017. So I was convinced, and I just kept learning more about it and actually buying more when I could, during the bear market.
Yo, that's lit. That's definitely a lit story, man. I definitely kind of come across it in a similar way. Actually, it was a little more music related, because the first person that actually put me on to Bitcoin was my music engineer at the time. So shout out to him. Shout out to Moj. You know what I mean? He put me on to it. And, man, back in the day, it's so crazy, bro, because like when Bitcoin first came on my table, it was like you had to jump through all these hoops just to get it, bro. Like you had to download these obscure apps and all that stuff. And I was like, bro, what is this, bro? Like, is my phone going to shut down from it? Like, you know what I mean? So, but shout out to everybody who early, man. Shout out to everybody that was early in the game when it comes to Bitcoin, because we still early now. Don't get it twisted. We are super early right now. But yeah, man, that's definitely a dope story. Yo, shout out to everybody in the building. Definitely appreciate you pulling up for a new episode of Beast on Air. We got the homie Spottie WiFi here. Yo, Spottie WiFi, man. Matter of fact, bro, I think we actually need to get into some music real quick. I actually want to play. I want to play your joint that you just put out, man. The joint you just put out with DJ Mouse Killer, right? This joint is
DJ Malski.
Mosky. Okay, yeah, DJ Mosky. This joint is absolutely fire. We gotta pull this joint up. Let me see. Can I get it up? Is it on YouTube yet? Or is it just on Twitter?
No, it's on YouTube,
Okay.
Spotify, everywhere.
Okay, cool. We actually gonna pull this joint up. But yeah, man. So what are you working on currently while I get this pulled up? Do you got an album dropping or what? What are you working on at the moment?
So I just put out my album in April, which was the King's Alpha. That's what this song is off of, the DJ Mosky track. And so I'll be pushing that album for the rest of the year, and also releasing some other music. Mosky and I in particular, we got a lot of music together, and I got a lot more collabs. I've been trying to like work with more artists, so definitely more music coming. I don't know if it'll be an LP next or an EP, but Mosky and I got a lot of music we're going to be putting out soon. And on top of that, I got the Spottie comic book that's finally coming out. It's been long overdue, and we're targeting Ape Fest as hopefully our launch moment in Hong Kong, which I'm excited about because I've never been to Hong Kong, and I think this is going to be lit. And then a lot of metaverse stuff, man. I'm really bringing the comic book and bringing the whole universe of Spottie to life in the metaverse. So that's where I'm trying to go, because I think it's really slept on right now.
Yeah, it's definitely slept on. And I definitely been seeing you out there with the homie Soulja Boy. I've been seeing y'all out in Decentraland, man. What y'all got going on in Decentraland? Is that a little bit of what you got going on, like as far as trying to expand the brand, in the avenue of the metaverse?
Yeah, so I'm building Spottie Land. Basically, anybody can go check it out, spottie.land. And it's powered by Decentraland, which is a virtual world, an online game. You can play it in your browser. And so, yeah, we started doing parties like 3 weeks ago. We do a party every Tuesday night. And Soulja Boy is, he's doing Soulja World, which Soulja World 3 is his new album. So he built Soulja World in Decentraland. So he came out to our party when we kicked it off a few weeks ago before he started his tour. So I'm just trying to reach out to a lot of different artists, because, the metaverse is really here. Like it is here, already. Even while this call right now is the metaverse, and so in particular, these virtual worlds and these games, like they're dope. And when you're in a Twitch stream, for example, or a live stream in most environments, you can express yourself through your emojis, through maybe gifting subs or whatever. But in Spottie Land, for example, you can express yourself by like your avatar, the clothes you're wearing, just like on Xbox or PlayStation. And you can create if you're an artist, you can express yourself and create your own clothes, create your own emotes, your own dance moves, your avatar skins, create your own worlds and sell them, give them to your fans, whatever. So it's actually a marketplace and like a whole economy. And I think that's what the artists are getting really excited about, because there are music fans in the metaverse. Like music is one of the best use cases for the metaverse.
Big facts, man. That's definitely one of the first things I thought about once I jumped into the space and I looked in the metaverse and what's going on. Music is, going to play a huge role in the metaverse. It already is. Man, you got shows going on back to back in Decentraland, man. When you check their schedule that they got going on, it's a lot of music artists, a lot of DJs too, man. Another thing I like about the metaverse, I feel like it's actually bringing DJs back. Like it's showing a lot of love to the DJs, which I feel like is one of the most slept on elements when it comes to hip hop, man. So I'm loving the DJ battles. I'm loving the producer battles. I'm loving all of that, man. So shout out to the metaverse. Shout out to Decentraland. Shout out to all the platforms that are building out here, because we're builders ourselves. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into this new record, man. With DJ Mosky. So we got Spottie WiFi with DJ Mosky. Hey, man. First of all, before we get started, real quick, I know we made the people wait for a little bit, but tell the story. Tell the story of how you ran into DJ Mosky and how you guys ended up linking up for this record.
Okay, yeah. So I started talking to a Web3 company called Tungo, and they're doing some cool stuff on the man, I forgot the blockchain actually at the moment. But anyways, it's a cool platform. So I started talking to them, and they introduced me to Malski. And so we did one session, and this was the first song that we did actually. So it was the very, very first song we ever did together, and we really, caught a vibe and really enjoyed the song. And we ran off like another 10 songs right after that, in a few sessions. So Malski's a super, super dope DJ and a really great producer. He's also on the hook of the song. So he's just a super talented dude, very musical. So yeah, I'm very proud of my work with Malski for sure.
Yeah, this joint is an absolute banger. My favorite part is actually the second half. Like when you come in, you switch up the whole beat. I'm like, oh, this is crazy. But look, man, I'm not gonna spoil any more of the video. Let's go ahead and get into it. This is Spottie WiFi X DJ Malski, man. Let's get it. This is called Do You Get It?
They know I'm a big deal, yeah, I said it. And you know it's way up where we headed. No, they talking down, it'll get to you if you let it. But it's good vibes only, all that talking, we gon' dead it. Do you get it? Do you get it? Do you get it? Do you get it? Yeah, it's way up where we headed. No, they talking down, it'll get to you if you let it. But it's good vibes only, all that talking, we gon' dead it. Do you get it?
One take, no edit. Told Malski this a layup, let me get it. This gonna be some new shit that we just invented. Yeah, I'm vetted and I'm coming for my credit and my debit. Bet it, I'm the king of punks, don't forget it. I ain't with the subtweets or the subreddits. Spottie why hurting them, call the paramedics. I fathered me a lot of these rappers, that's genetic. And if she let me pet it, no, it's already wetted. I'ma make sure everything working copacetic. And if she let me hit it, bet I probably win the pennant. Then I catch a red eye same night and I'm jetting. I woke up at LAX, headed out to Venice. On the West Coast, they know I'm a menace. You're watching a master, we ain't no apprentice. Malski bring the hook back, show them how we winning.
Grinning, they know I'm a big deal, yeah, I said it. And you know it's way up where we headed. No, they talking down, it'll get to you if you let it. But it's good vibes only, all that talking, we gon' dead it. Do you get it? Do you get it? Do you get it? Do you get it? Yeah, it's way up where we headed. No, they talking down, it'll get to you if you let it. But it's good vibes only, all that talking, we gon' dead it. Do you get it? Do you get it? Do you get it?
Wait, no, wait, I'm interrupting this. No, stop, Spottie. No, these whack dudes, they out here trying to compete. They can't compare to you. Man, show 'em what you do.
So this here is the victory lap and I'm leaving. That's how you get me back. After a year, them JPEGs made 1.5, 55, 28, and the vibe's still alive. Yeah, Spottie did it to death, you gotta love it. Keep that same energy when you see me in public. I switched my motto, I know life's a bitch though, but I bought the dip, now I get more crypto. I had a dream I could buy me a pyramid. When I awoke, I spent it on Ethereum. I stay faithful in a room full of pears. How we so bullish in a room full of bears? But you can't tell me nothing, right? Cause I finally got my money, right?
Man, stop playing, tell them who you are, man.
So allow me to reintroduce myself. I'm Spottie, hi-fi on my Wi-Fi. I guess even back then I was quite fly. Make money, don't let the money make you. And if you ever showed love, thank you.
Spottie WiFi. One run game with the two boys. Rude boys. Malski. Spottie WiFi.
Yes, sir. That's streaming right now. That is off the King's Alpha album. The song is Do You Get It, featuring DJ Malski. It's on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, everywhere. Run it up. And shout out to DJ Malski. Huge shout out.
Yeah, shout out to DJ Malski. Shout out to you, man. That joint was fire, absolutely fire. I was just roaming across Twitter, the other day, and I was like, whoa, this is crazy right here. This is straight heat. Yo, is that Malski on the production?
Yep, 100% Malski on the production. No samples, and he's on the hook. It's crazy, man. He's crazy talented, and yeah, he's got a lot of. He's recorded with a ton of people, so over the years, so he's got a lot of like his own samples. It's crazy.
Fire. Absolutely fire, man. Yo, shout out to everybody in the building. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button. We are here with the homie Spottie WiFi. We are doing a spotlight on Spottie WiFi, man. And we just finished playing his new joint with DJ Mowski. But y'all make sure y'all hit that like button. Shout out to y'all for rocking with us today during this episode of Beast on Air, episode 6. Yeah, so we sitting here chilling with the homie Spottie WiFi. Yo, one thing I definitely want to ask you about, man. I definitely want to ask you about this. I actually seen the record. I think it's the one with Snoop Dogg on it, on the King's Alpha album, right? It's actually the King's Alpha music video. And I wanted to ask you about, because, you know, there's the glimpse where Snoop Dogg is talking about, you know, some of the things you helped him with once he entered the space, right? So let's talk about some of your accomplishments when it comes to onboarding new people into crypto, man, like especially music artists and other artists from other spaces. Talk about that a little bit and how like some of that kind of comes about.
Well, you know, I think actually most of the artists that I've been able to onboard into like Web3 music, they were already in Web3 in some way. You know, like I really admire Snoop for all of these guys, but Snoop, for example, like he was buying CryptoPunks and Bored Apes and land in the sandbox, and like I always tell artists, if you want to get interested in Web3, you should become a collector first. Because like, and that doesn't mean you have to spend a bunch of money. You can collect NFTs you can find free NFTs all the time. But, you know, you wouldn't try to sell a car if you had never driven a car, you know, because once you drive a car, you have a bunch of questions that you might ask that you wouldn't have asked, you know what I mean? So you learn from trying to be the person, to use the thing that you're selling. So anyways, Snoop does that. You know, he was a student and like studying Web3 as I was, and a lot of people were in 2021, you know, and same thing with Bun. You know, Bun was doing, he did a music NFT before I did a music NFT, actually. You know, Bun did. Jim Jones did he was the first rapper to do an NFT, you know, of his chain. So these guys, I can't say that like I onboarded them into Web3, but I could say that I onboarded a lot of people into Web3 music, in terms of thinking about it as a distribution game changer, you know, because you can gamify your music releases now. You could do loot boxes and actually prove that they're fair, you know, and things like that. So I'm really proud of that, you know, and that's like way more than I ever expected, you know, to come out of doing all this. So I'll take that, but I you know, a lot of, and also there's a lot of artists that were before me. Like I always say, I'm the best only crypto punk rapper alive, because you know, look at me, I am my crypto punk. But there's a lot of dope rappers that were doing stuff in crypto before me that I was inspired by. You know,
nah, that's super fire. That's super fire, man. Hey, you definitely a humble dude, man. I love it, man. I love it. I love the energy. Shout out to everybody tuning into the show. Look, we actually about to jump into another record. We're going to jump into another record real quick. You know, since you're dropping that Alpha, I figured, you know, it would be the perfect time to play the King's Alpha music video. You know what I mean? So let's go ahead and jump into this. This is Spottie WiFi x Snoop Dogg, the King's Alpha music video. Let's get into it.
I don't want to sound all dramatic and everything, but this is a very, very, very pivotal moment. Like, it really, really is. I see this in the same way as, you know, seeing Bun co-sign Drake, like back in 2009 or whatever, just those that could see what was about to happen, could see what was going to happen. It's like, it's kind of like that whole thing all over again.
I'm Spottie, yes, so obvious, no less. I gotta let them know the king of punks brought the King's Alpha out to death row. Who you know is spazzing that up, Basil with the trilogy. Grilled by Johnny Dang, boy, you can't get these at Tiffany's. Who told you by the dips? Yeah, no, I meant Dipset. Brought Harlem out to A-Fest. Yeah, I did that. Yesterday's price are obsolete. Now I'm so selective. Off the leash video, I set off all the smoke detectors. Should've sold the top. I'ma make it back in one flip. Buy low, shell high, working like I punched in. Even if you had a pump, you could never pump him. 55-28, they hate the way I bust in. Let it down, play me, designate me lightning in a bottle. Never fold, digital gold, my ledger El Dorado. A cold winner, hope you got yourself a war chest. Made a quick meal off of profile portraits.
Yeah, that's Spottie, boss.
Hey, Spottie, you are inspiration over here. You got to know that. We're going to tell everybody the story because they may not know. When we got off into this, we called Spottie because Spottie's the #1 guy and we respect him, and he had came over here and did some music, you know, showed us love and basically welcomed us into the blockchain. We like to say that you like the motherfucking, you the top dog over here, you know what I'm saying? So we fuck with you and we love what you're doing, and you gave us the inspiration.
When they see me metaverse and they say Spottie on some other shit. Champion DC personally brought me to the mothership. Real, recognize real, yes, in our DNA. 7 months later, cheetah gang at the VMAs. The underground king of punks.
Yo, this your boy Awesomeisjayell, aka the biggest music artist in the metaverse. Hey, and we just finished watching and listening to the King's Alpha music video by Spottie WiFi, and we had the homie Snoop Dogg on the track too as well. Man, let's talk about this track, man. You're dropping a lot of jewels, dropping a lot of gems. Snoop is dropping a lot of gems as well. So what inspired this track? Where did the idea like really originate to really pump this track out?
So basically, you know, I sold this album, my debut album, as an NFT in 2021 in the bull market. And right afterwards, it was, you know, it got some good press and all this. And shortly after that, I heard from Snoop's son. Snoop's son reached out to me, Cordell Champ. And so we started talking and just like exchanging ideas and things like that around Web3 music NFTs and whatnot. And so I went out to LA in early 2022 and got to go to the, you know, Death Row, the new studio, you know, the new Death Row, you know, which Snoop now owns, and go to the studio like you saw in the video and everything like that. And I was doing music with Cordell, his son, and some of the Death Row artists, October London, super dope artist, West Side West. And I met Snoop super briefly. It was like it was literally the week of the Super Bowl, and he was performing at halftime and like just launched, you know, his album and the new Death Row and everything. So I got to meet him for like a minute. And then that interlude that you hear of Snoop speaking, that was actually the first time that we really got to talk, and it was on a Twitter space. So like it was totally impromptu, like not planned. You know, they were doing a Twitter space and I was in there. And so it was like we were meeting for the first time basically. And so that was kind of like part of the conversation. And then from there, I got this beat from a really dope producer named Danny Ives. And I just started writing, and, you know, I was kind of telling the story. And so then I didn't have a hook for it yet. So I just was thinking about, you know, what if I just put that on there as the interlude and had that be the intro to the album, you know? So that's exactly, so we did that. I sent it to Snoop, and he was loving it. So he blessed it and, you know, supported it, was sharing it on his handles on Instagram and everything. So that's crazy, you know, like I don't know, man, that it just came together, and all of this is very surreal still to me. Like really, like I was 2 years ago, like laid off during COVID, you know, trying to figure out what I was going to do, you know, and just that all this kind of came together. So yeah, it's wild, man. It's hard to even explain, really.
Yeah, that's kind of wild, bro. That's crazy, man. Hey, I definitely feel the vibes, man. I already know what time it is. Before we get out of here, I would love for you to like shed light on the part of your career where you were coming from Web 2. Like, how was it for you with your music career as far as Web 2 was concerned before you jumped in Web 3?
So like, yeah, back about a decade ago, you know, when I was still finishing school, I was doing music. sometimes working another job, day job while I'm doing music, sometimes able to support myself with music, kind of in that fluid state for like, let's say 2006 to 2011, basically. So like for about 5 years, I was making my run at music, like the first time around in Web 2. And it's tough, man. Like I had you could from the outside looking in think that like things were going really great, or that an artist is having a lot of success. Maybe they're getting press, maybe they're getting shows. Maybe they're getting good reviews, blog love, maybe they're getting streams, and all of that can add up to very little in a lot of situations, in terms of like when the rent's due, so that was always kind of the challenge. But I learned a lot. Like I learned a lot because I was always the part of the group or the band that was always like the booking manager, or the booking agent / kind of the artist manager, thinking about the marketing, that sort of thing. And later the legal side of things, whatever. So I think it was just a good learning experience, even though it was very frustrating. But it kind of helps me now, like even help explain what I'm doing through the struggles that I had earlier of like thinking that you need a big label, thinking you need some kind of publishing deal, thinking you need to sign with some bigger, some big entity, or that just some deal is going to help you, get from 0 to 100 real quick. And it's almost never like that. It's like you just have to build it brick by brick. So, but in that run, I felt I got very exhausted just by the, shady managers, having people stealing out from under you, stealing show money. You find out a check was more than the check than you thought the check was for, and things like that. That stuff happens all the time. And at some point, you kind of question, like, can I do this? And then another opportunity comes up, and that's pretty much what happened. I had an opportunity to take a day job in a creative field, working in advertising, working with, media partnerships and sponsorship ideas and stuff like that. And, I could have made I could have been happy doing that, but I'm really grateful that I'm doing this instead.
Yeah, and shed a little light on that transition, from going from working with the agency to do what was it you said, marketing, some sort of marketing?
Yeah, I used to do marketing, media strategy, content strategy, and partnerships. So helping a brand think about like who are they trying to reach, and how can you, in this attention economy, how can you get their attention, and keep their attention. So to me, that helps a ton, and just partnerships in general. Partnerships are so important to pretty much anything I've ever had success with. I'm not a designer, I'm not an animator. I'm not a producer, I can record my vocals. That's about it when it comes to like actually being in any kind of studio situation. So I rely on, working with other creative people that kind of share the vision for what we're trying to do. And I think that's the biggest thing that I was able to sharpen my skills on, and just get comfortable working with different types of creative people in a professional way in those agency situations, and just hearing how other strategic thinkers, quote unquote, how they think about things or how they pitch ideas, so that's really valuable too. Getting to know, like hearing somebody pitch you an idea 1,000 times, and just being able to cut through like, okay, these are my 3 big questions I have for them. If they can answer these questions, then I care. If they can't, that sort of thing. But it's tough. Right. When I was making that transition, it wasn't by choice. It was like I had a good gig. I had a really good thing going at a big agency in New York. Was living in a 700 square foot apartment in Brooklyn, and with my girlfriend at the time, now my wife. And, we were living like a really nice big city lifestyle. And then I lost my job, and I had a lot of free time on my hands, and I wasn't like sweating, how am I going to keep the light bill on, but I was definitely trying to figure out, okay, what am I doing with my life right now? Because everybody's laying people off, and all that sort of stuff. And that was the backdrop when I decided to buy a CryptoPunk, which is like at that time, the biggest purchase I ever made. I never bought a house. I still have never bought a car, but I spent $40,000 on this CryptoPunk because I had this crypto. Like I told you, I got into crypto in 2017. And by this point it was worth more. And I was just thinking of it as an investment, to diversify. And the music thing came totally and unexpectedly after that, when I started getting followers on Twitter with the profile picture of the CryptoPunk. And I just started thinking, like, let's build Spottie into a character, and that's where, like I said, I'm not an animator, but I can record some music,
Yo, that's absolutely fire. Yo, shout out to everybody tuning in. Shout out to the homie, NFTLES. He says, peace to the homies. Definitely appreciate you pulling up. Man, you definitely said something there, man. You said something there. The reason why I started Beast on Air is because of a kid called Beast. Yeah, I bought that IP and I was like, man, I love this IP. I love the project. I love what they're doing. Why not build something, with that IP, right? And that's when I came up with Beast on Air. I wanted to, curate like a, OG, like MTV/BET type feel type show for Web3, and Web2 artists too as well. But, we're always trying to, shed light on both sides, right? And give people as many perspectives as possible, so that is super dope, man. And also, while I'm on that subject, major shout out to a kid called Beast. Right, I'm definitely gonna do better with shouting them out. Shout out to a kid called Beast. It is an amazing project. Shout out to all the founders. Shout out to Crash. Shout out to Raspy. Shout out to Nick. Shout out to everybody on the team. It's definitely one of the builder-centric NFT projects that I've seen like ever in my life and that I've been a part of. So major shout out to a kid called Beast. And you guys are now tuning in to Beast on Air. But before we get out of here, Spottie WiFi, if you had one piece of advice to give let's say a new music artist that's entering the Web3 arena, if you had one piece of advice, what would it be?
My one piece of advice, I would say, build relationships, build relationships with collectors, creators, people that are in Web3 with different skill sets and with different motivations, and just build relationships, and support where you can. Show love to get love, don't pull up on a Monday thinking you're going to sell some NFTs on Friday. It's a really tough market right now, but this is a great time to learn and find out who you can trust, find people you can trust that are consistent, because I believe that the bull market is coming back. So if you're learning now, you're going to be ahead of a whole wave of people that I think are going to come back, and then just remember, any artist, if you can find 1,000 people that really rock with you, you can do a lot of work with that. 1,000 supporters, you can change the world with 1,000 supporters, and you could definitely earn a living. You could definitely deliver value and experiences that people will say, oh yeah, let me spend $100 on that this year. And that's 6 figures if you got 1,000 of those people, on your side. So make the music you want to make. You don't need to be on somebody's algorithm. Make the music you want to make, and then find the 1,000 people that like it.
Okay, I like it. That's some fire advice, man. It's fire advice. But yeah, with that being said, we are winding down the show. I want to give a couple shout outs. Shout out to everybody in the crowd. Shout out to Lord P. Shout out to NFTLES. Shout out to Giselle Ave. And shout out to everybody else who pulled up on the show today. I do want to do some shout outs before we get out of here from Spottie WiFi. So Spottie WiFi, do you have any shout outs before we get out of here?
Yeah, man. Well, first off, shout out to you for having me on the show. It's an honor. Shout out to all the beasts. Shout out to DJ Malski. Shout out to everybody, on my album, The King's Alpha, which is out now. Shout out to everybody in Decentraland. Make sure you come out Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern for Tap In Tuesday. Shout out to Alan Kingdom, who's our featured artist this Tuesday night. And yeah, check it out. Spottie.land is where you go. Yeah, other than that, man, shout out everybody in the audience. Appreciate you tuning in. If you got any value out of this, please share it with people, because these types of conversations, we need more people hearing them, more artists hearing them, and kind of opening up their perspective of like what they could do, on their own, or with friends, or with people that are listening right now.
Exactly. I definitely will be pulling up on Tuesdays, man. You said Tuesday, 8 p.m. EST in the Central Land. And what's the name of the land again?
Mine is Spottie Land. Spottie.land is the
Spottie.land.
website. You just go to Spottie.land. If you have an ETH wallet, like a MetaMask wallet, you can log in with your wallet. That's really dope, because then you can like save your avatar and like collect different wearables, emotes, whatever. But you don't need a wallet. Anybody can join. You can send it to your friends that don't know anything about Web3, and they can just click guest and just log in without a wallet.
Okay, cool. All right, with that being said, we are wrapping up the show, and this was Beast on Air episode 6, season 1, and today's title was Spotlight on Spottie WiFi, which is actually our first one-on-one interview. It was super dope. If you guys are interested in Spottie WiFi, what he has going on, go down to the description below and click the link that's right beside Spottie WiFi's name, and you'll enter his world, and you'll see everything he got going on. So if you want to be a part of that, go ahead and click that link. But with that being said, yo, it's your boy Awesomeisjayell, aka the biggest music artist in the metaverse, along with Spottie WiFi, and we are signing off.